Myrna Lou has been a friend of mine for probably close to 15 years. I first met her over at the Full Moon Bookstore. She is a soulmate specialist, an award-winning author, a teacher, and guess what? A matchmaker. So here you go.
So what I'm going to do, some of you don't know me, so I'm going to pass out my literature. So you have one of these, or if you just everybody take one of these, just pass it down. I wrote 3 books, and I've been doing palmistry since I was 10 years old. And the book that I'm going to talk about the most is called Soulmate Connections. But before I even tell you about that, I have to tell you about the first book that I wrote, and it was called May I See Your Hand? Because that's what I say to everybody when I meet them. And it's in the grocery store, the beauty shop, wherever I am, I say, can I see your hand? So I wrote this book. Then I thought, well, I've been putting a lot of couples together, and in 2003, I'd already put tons of people together. So I looked in my 3 scrapbooks that are that fat, and I have 1,500 wedding invitations in there from people that I put together or people that I said were with the right one. And that's how I can tell, is by looking at the person's hand. And sometimes I look at one person's hand and it comes in my mind who I should fix them up with. And my husband goes, you doing that again? And I'm on the phone giving out phone numbers. But I always ask the woman first if it's okay if I give her email or her phone number out. And they say yes. And then I call the guy and I tell him about the woman. And then it's up to them. Well, one man went through 5 women and he said, I need more names. And I said, you're done, buddy. 5 is enough. If you can't connect with anybody after 5, you probably aren't going to connect. So I wrote this book because the most people that I see that I love to talk about the most is love and romance. And this book has stuff in here that even your mother didn't tell you. So it's 2 sections. And the first section has 17 pages, and it's things that this part right here says mistakes not to make this time. And we all make them. And so it means don't look for somebody that you ever had before. If it wasn't good, don't go for the same type. Then there's other things, and it's like, how do you recognize if it's a soulmate? Will they stay forever? How do you react with each other? Can you have give and take with them? Because it has to be where it's not all one-sided. It has to be reciprocated. Then it's how do you accidentally bump into the right energy? And that's what you all need to know. And there's 46 love stories in here. Starts with Irma Bombeck. And every one of them is a hint. And all you have to do is resonate with any one of them, just one, and you have it. And you can go, I could copy what that person did. And you go out and do what they did. And I make you buy my book.
You can make me buy it.
Did you buy it? Did you read it? Okay. So did you get something out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because even my husband said, oh my God, I didn't know you knew this much stuff. And he did. It's just common sense. But the thing is, I've been married 3 times, and in my life I have 53 years of marriage, and I'm not that old, so I've never been alone. So the first marriage was 20 years, and he died. Second one was 13 years, divorce. So now I have 1 in the ground, 1 divorced. I was never going to get married again. I went to a Jewish singles bowling league, speaking of bowling. I met my husband first night. But I did something most grown-ups don't do. I sat on his lap, I giggled all night, I stole his baseball hat, I threw it down the alley. I did things I've never done even as a teenager, and he liked that energy. And back then I was 53, that was 20 years ago. And to this day, I'm still that same person. I'm just full of it. And he likes it because he is too. So we decided we're both 30 years old in our head. So I'm going to pass out some literature here, but I don't want anybody to look at it till we're all ready. But the first thing is, it says, I see a palm party in your future, because I do palm parties. And so you all have, I'm going to just give you a bunch and you can pass them across. You all have friends or people that are different than who are here today. And so you might want to have a little get-together. And what happens at a palm party is you put me in a separate room, I read to people, and then if I see something in somebody's hand and it looks like you're ready, you need somebody now, I just fix you up. Some of them don't work, some do. Now if you don't have pens, I brought a whole bunch of pens, so I'm going to pass these around. Because some of you can dig in your purse, but instead of doing that, just take a pen out. Now they have to go on that side. You guys have it? Okay, they're coming. So the first page is about a palm party, and I wrote a really cute thing that I thought was adorable, but you don't have to read that right now. I only have it there to hide the thing that we're really going to do, which is the relationship IQ test. So we're all going to grade ourselves, and we're going to do it together, but don't let anybody sitting next to you see what you're doing. So there's a bunch of questions on page 2, and the questions start with first of all, you're going to grade yourself A, B, C, or D. And the first one is, how affectionate are you? And so you're going to grade yourself. And some people are very affectionate. I'm a hand holder, squeezy person, and I do a lot of that, and some people aren't. So you put down A, B, C, or D. At the end, we're going to count them up. A is worth 4 points, D is 1, and you have to be truthful because this is just for you. Okay? So I'm looking to see if I have one of those written much bigger. I don't. Well, what we're going to do here, this is the soulmate diagram that I drew. It's kind of crude, but you can see it. So the love line starts on the thumb side, and the soulmate mark is down by the wrist, and I'm going to run around for just a second, even though we're being videotaped. I'm going to look at every hand to see if anybody has this V here. And it looks like an Indian teepee or a pyramid, or it could be the shape of a ball. But if it's there, that means you're due. You're supposed to have a soulmate in your life, and where are they? And so I'm going to help you get one. So I know you have it because it was huge. Okay, so you got to go show everybody.
This is
a winner here. Hers is really huge. Go over to the camera too and show her.
I don't want to be on
So
camera.
let's see. And you had it.
It's okay.
You have a good one.
Okay.
And you have the ski track, which is real good, plus that.
Got it.
And only 1 in a million people gets a soulmate the first time, but only 1 in a million have both of those, and you got both marks. You're rare. It's really good. So a ski track means 2 people march to the same drummer's beat.
So
See?
where is he?
Well, I'm going to get it. I'll find out. Okay, relax. Yours is very light, but it's right there. You're supposed to have it too. I always tell you that. Okay, and you have the ski track. You see that? This is 2 people tie the knot, and they go dun 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 dun. March together. So it means you have give and take, and I know Marianne has plenty of them. I mean, you have a really big, you have both. So you have the ski track, and you have the soulmate thing. She has this.
I have the double.
And she had, I know, that's why I said you have plenty of them. So I've only seen 5 people in my life who have a double, and she's one of them. She has 2 pyramids sitting side by side, so you could go show everybody. And the thing is, that means if she missed one, the next one's still coming. So I don't have that mark. Just so happens you don't, the person who you married has to have it, or you have, there it is. See that reddish thing? I'm pushing on it, right there. It's turning like a little triangle, it's turning beet red. See it? Red means pretty soon. Red means now, but I didn't want to say that, but I just did. Okay. And you have it. It's right here. So if I ran and got my magnifier and I passed it around, that's right, and then the other part's over here.
Oh, that's a weird one.
Okay, well, 2 people tie the knot right there. That's what that means. Okay, so everybody knows what it is now, because I showed you my stupid drawing here. But the thing is, I don't have it. So my husband has one this long. He has a huge one. The first husband didn't have it, the second one didn't, this one does. But if the first one hadn't passed away, I'd still be there, because that was a stable, good, fun relationship, a good marriage. So what happens is, I got it anyway, even though I don't have the mark. And so a soulmate to me, in palmistry, means reincarnation. You were here before, you met somebody that you didn't finish your business with back there, and your sex changes every time you come back. So the average person comes back between 4 and 7 times. So that makes you between 400 and 700 years old in experience, or in things about this big called implants that are in your system, and it's called a memory bank. Well, some people have 60 past lives, and if it's over 20, I yell at them. And I've seen 58 and 60 already. But the average person has 4 to 7. For some reason, I have 1. And I figured out that I was a master and I was a male last time, because each time we come, the sex changes. So if I had to come back, I'd be the male next time, but I don't have to come back. I got the soulmate. Once you get it, you're content, you're happy, you go up to heaven, you stay there. So to me, a soulmate is somebody that you already had bickering, competition, sexual tension, frustration, all that other stuff with back there. Then you meet them and you reunite here, and you're done with that. You don't need to do any of that. You already did it. So now we're going to start with the test. So everybody grade yourself. The first one was
Is
health.
A the highest and B the
A
lowest?
is the highest, D is the lowest. So nobody should have straight A's and nobody should have all D's. You should have a
So is
combination.
A worth 5, you said? What are they worth again for starting tips?
A is worth 4, B is worth 3, C is worth 2, and a D is 1. And at the end, what we're going to do is average it out. So when you're going to take this home with you, you're going to be able to tell where you left off and what you need to work on. And there's nobody here that's perfect, guaranteed.
Okay, if you don't have a
Which is the
mate.
highest?
If you don't have a mate, you just imagine that you have one.
Okay.
What's the highest D or A?
The highest is A, and we just did the first one. I hope you only all just did A. I mean, did number 1, how affectionate are you? The second one is how romantic are you? Did everybody keep on going? Did you all keep going? I'll catch up with you. Okay, so the third one is how sexy are you? And that means in the eye of the beholder, not to yourself. If the other person thinks you've got something on the ball and they think you're pretty sexy and you turn their lights on, that's what we're talking about. Then, number 4, how generous are you? It doesn't mean money. It means what do you have to give? You're going to be a volunteer. You're going to put an extra pair of hands out if somebody needs it. You're a shoulder to cry on. So you write down A, B, C, or D on every one of these. Number 5, how trusting are you? And everybody isn't so trusting. Some people have been burned and they don't trust anybody. And some people trust everybody and get hurt. So what you have to do is decide in your mind, am I a trusting person or am I going to be suspicious? So how far did you get? Did you do the whole thing? Okay, so I can't catch up to you. Okay, 6, how much fun are you to be around? So I already told you that I'm full of it and that I'm kind of a lot of fun. And I'm 73 years old, but I think I'm 30. So I'm kind of fun. So if you aren't fun, change your personality a little bit and become more fun-loving. So Mary Ann teaches dancing. If that isn't fun, I don't know what is it. See, and that's a young, fun thing. Okay, number 7, how emotionally present are you with your mate? And some people are there and some people aren't. If you don't have a mate, pretend you have one right now while we're doing this. So what happens is they can be talking, and if you tune them out, you're not there emotionally. You're somewhere else daydreaming, and that isn't good. You should be, when they talk to you, look right in their eyes, and you talk back and forth, back and forth. That's emotionally present. Number 8, how physically present are you? That means, are you there when they want to hold your hand, or do you take it away? Or are you there when they want to hug, and you don't want one because you're grouchy that day? So you have to be present in the situation. Number 9, how compassionate are you to your mate's feelings? So let's say they lost their job. You feel bad about it, or you say, good for you. If you feel bad for them, they appreciate that you're there for them mentally and emotionally, and then you say, I'm sorry that happened. I'm sure you'll find something else. Let me help you. And you help them get over the hump, however you have to. Then, number 10, how good of a listener are you? We all like to talk, but you also have to listen. So you talk, they talk, you talk. That's called back and forth. Some men don't talk. You have to pull it out of them, one word at a time. And then all of a sudden they get on a jag. If it's something they're interested in, they don't shut up. They talk the whole night through. So number 11 is how nurturing are you? And that means caring, giving part of yourself to them. If they're hurting, you're there for them. Their mother died, you say, oh, I'm so sorry. You're a compassionate person. Then 12, how much of a friend are you? If you're not friends first, you can't be best friends. If you're not best friends, it isn't your soulmate. So soulmates are your best friends. Then the last one, and this is the biggest one, how much in control are you of your negativity? And we all have some negative. We have positive and negative, and some people are very negative. They're a black energy. That's not good. You should have a little negativity, but not very much. So all those are your A, B, C, or Ds, and you can add them up when you get home, or you can look at them now. But the reason I gave that to you was because I wanted you to see that. Now, the next sheet on this list that I handed out has to do with qualities to look for in a mate, because most of you only know 3, 4, or 5 of them, and I came up with 15, and I thought of more after I wrote the book. This is all in my book, by the way. So the first one is commitment to learning, and I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but you can see there's a whole big giant list there. And if they're missing any of those, they're not a soulmate. Soulmate has every one of those characteristics. Now the next sheet is what's important here, is this is the pyramid. And I said everyone in here had a little pyramid on their hand or a ski track, and then one person had a double pyramid. But the pyramid is made up of this thing, reading from the bottom up. So first of all, every building or pyramid has a foundation, and that's made out of trust, honor, and respect, which all are sort of the same thing. Spontaneity, affection, and then you have love. Well, that pyramid goes up, so the bottom is communication. Then we have physical appearance of the couple. Then spirituality means if somebody fell down and broke their leg, you go over and help them. You don't have to set their leg, but you could use your phone to call 911, or you stay with them until help comes. The sexual compatibility doesn't mean, it means you're on the same page at the same time. So some men go, well, I'll accommodate you 2 times, but I don't like it very much. Ooh, you get cheated. Some men want it 20 times a week. Ooh, you get cheated. It's supposed to be spontaneous. It's supposed to happen mentally, physically. When you're both ready, you fall into it. So it's got to be compatible. It can't be opposites like that. Then the similar belief system doesn't mean church, but it means if you believe in God or angels or animal guides or totems and they don't, you've got a problem here and you're going to be doing this. Because atheists don't believe in anything, and if you believe in any of that, then you're not alike, and you want to like. Now, likes attract and opposites attract. And when opposites attract with each other, it's exciting, and then it starts slipping, and then it's out here. Likes attract, it's exciting, and they just march like that, right straight through. And so everybody wants a like, and I got a like this time. So a like means they think like you do, react like you do, hate and love the same things you do, vote the same way without telling you. When you get done, you look and you can lay it right on top of each other. It's exactly the same. It's because they're at the same place you are at the same time. Now, you have to be a little bit forward because most men are stupid. I hate to say that, but they don't get it. And so you have to say, hi, I like your shirt, nice shoes. I don't care what you say. You make up something to strike up a conversation. And they go, I bought this at Sears. Can you believe that? And you go, great, I like it on you. And they go, well, I like yours too. And the next thing you know, you're talking. So here's what happens. First you say hi. Now you're sort of a friend. Now you're best friends. Then you're dating. Then you're intimate. You might live together, and then you get married. That could take a year from day one if you met them tonight. So it doesn't happen in 5 minutes. But what happens is the connection. And if your head goes click and their head goes click at the same time, you got a connection. So it takes knowing somebody a little while. So the first month, everybody's on best behavior. You all know that. In 3 months, you let the guard down a little bit. You go to the bathroom with the door open and you yell 3 rooms out to the other person. We all do it. If you're familiar with somebody, you don't care because they're 2 rooms, 3 rooms away and you're doing your stuff and he's doing his and you're just yelling. Then at 6 months, if you don't have anything that you can find to really pick at and it's good, you keep going out. And then at 6 months, it should be where you actually become exclusive and you don't go out with anybody else and neither do they. So once you become exclusive, then you get a little deeper into the relationship. So what happens is everybody's telling their stuff. My family did this, I did that, and then you mesh, you blend, and it starts going like that. Well, if you have secrets and you don't tell everything, the meshing doesn't work. So here's you, here's the other person, and they should fit like this when it's the right one, and it's like that when it's not. How you know that is immediately. If something doesn't hit you right, you get a red flag in your gut, and you go, this doesn't feel exactly right, don't continue going out with that person. That's real simple. It's not because you're desperate. You could find somebody else. Now, this is not a real popular place like New York where you get hit on every 5 minutes. But if you're not finding anybody, that means you're not going to the right places to accidentally, on purpose, bump into the right energy. And so if you never took a class, you suddenly sign up for one. If you never went bowling or played volleyball, you suddenly get on a team. If you never did seminars, you just go to one. And then maybe that person's sitting next to you and they see you making notes and they go, oh, I see you're writing notes. And you say, well, yeah, would you like to look at my notes? Now you go have a cup of coffee and talk about your notes. That's one way to meet somebody. Or you in a volleyball league and everybody's joking with everybody and they all go out for a cup of coffee afterwards and you just do that. So a lot of people meet at bookstores. And the reason is, let's say you all went to Barnes & Noble to hear a book signing, to hear a guy give a talk at a book signing. So he holds up his book and it's a subject you're really interested in. He puts the book down, he goes and he's signing off copies, and you go up to him, shake his hand, and you say, you know, I really like that book. I think I'm going to buy it. And he goes, well, great. You know, I'm done in 20 minutes. Starbucks is right over there. Would you like to go have a cup of coffee? Well, you weren't being hit on, and you weren't hitting on him exactly, but you were sort of trying to get him to ask you, and now he did. So you go sit down, and you might talk for an hour or a couple hours. You never look at your watch if you're having a good time. Then he goes, oh, it's 6 o'clock. Would you like a bite to eat? We could go out for a light dinner, maybe a salad or a sandwich. And you go, well, I have my car. So he says, okay, I'll meet you at such and such. So he tells you a restaurant that's a mile down the road. You go to the restaurant. You go, I bet he's not here. I don't know what's wrong with me. Why did I drive my car all the way over here and he isn't even going to be there? And you walk in and there he is. Well, here's the beginning of a budding friendship. Remember, friend, best friend, and then all that other stuff. So that's how you do it. So when I went to that bowling league, everybody had a team, and I started to leave. I looked around, and there was team, 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 all the way down. And I thought, I can't do this. So, and 5 people stopped me at the door and said, way down on alley 39, and they were on 1 through 12. They said, there's 2 guys been friends since high school, and they're still friends, and they come from Brooklyn. You ought to go join them. There'll be 3, and 1 more person comes in, you'll have a team. So I walk up, I'm not shy, and I go, I'm here to bowl with you guys. Well, I bowled with them. But you're up, they're up, you're up, they're up. You don't get to talk very much. It's like little snatches of conversations. So I'm going to tell you what happened after I threw the baseball hat. My husband, who's now my husband, back then said, what did you just do that for? And I hate bald men. I can't help it. I wanted to see a full head of hair, so I took it. I was just going to lift it up, and that's when I had to throw it because he saw what I was doing. So he liked that energy. So he said, oh, what were you playing keep away for? I said, I don't know. Well, I was drinking water out of a thermos, and I was drinking and up and down and bowling. And he said, what are you drinking? I said, vodka. And I was just being silly. It wasn't vodka, it was water. So he takes a big sip and he goes, why, that's just water. I said, well, I have rubber legs. I don't know, it's making me crazy. So he liked that energy. The next morning, I worked in Lakewood, right here. I lived in Louisville at that time. So I lived in Littleton then. So I went to work, have the key in the lock, and the phone's ringing, 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 and I go, it isn't even 8 o'clock. I'm not even going to answer it. I'm going to wait till I'm supposed to be here. Well, I'll answer it. And it was him. He said, let's do lunch. And I said, oh, okay. So we go to a pizza parlor. Now, this is the part that will floor you. So we're sitting there, and you get to visit because it takes a while after you make your order, and you have to wait. So he says, I know you from back there. So I don't turn around. Oh, you've been here before. I said, clarify back there. So he says, you know, when we were in nursery school together, we were 2 3-year-old little boys. Now, I told you I was a male last time, and I would have to be if I came back. So I said, yeah. He said, you threw sand in my hair. And just then my eye starts watering like mad. And he says, oh yeah, I must have thrown some in your eye too, in your hair. The teacher had to clean your eye out. So I said, you want to know the name of the nursery school? Now, I'm from Ohio. I'm 9 years older, and he's from Brooklyn. So he goes, there's no way in this God's green earth you're going to know what that school's name was. So I said, just a minute. And I'm psychic. I look up in the ceiling, and there's a soffit. If you know what a soffit is, it's like a ledge thing. And I look up there, and I said, oh, it was called Baumburger. Didn't we call it Baumburger? Well, he got hysterical. I've never seen a man laugh so hard in my life, start stamping his foot on the ground and screaming and going, ah! So I thought something really bad happened and a mouse ran up his leg. I'd never seen that. So I started screaming and we got thrown out of the restaurant. I'd never been thrown out of anything in my life and I was embarrassed. I was all dressed from work with heels, hose, dressed up nice, looked something like you look today, heels, you know, regular. And the manager goes, you two, out. And I go, you don't understand what just happened here. He said, I don't want to hear it. We're busy. It's lunchtime. You're done. So we're out in front of the restaurant, and he goes, you had a hissy fit in there. And I said, well, you started it. And he said, yeah, but you finished it, didn't you? And I said, well, I did know the name of the nursery school. So he said, yeah, we were 3, both of us. Well, we aren't both the same age this time, but that's the memory bank that kicked in. Okay. So I said, you know, we didn't get lunch and we both have to go back to work now, so why don't you come to my house for dinner tonight? I'm having my carpets cleaned, I have to go away. Now I lived in Littleton, and I said, I have a coupon for a restaurant that I like to go to. It's an Italian restaurant. I'll take you. You can be, I have 2 for the price of 1, I'll take you. So he said, okay, 5 o'clock on the dot. Now I got home from work at 5:05. At 5 o'clock on the dot, the front door opens, he walks in, doesn't knock, anything. He's got a little green duffel bag, and I go, what's that? What are you doing? He said, oh, I live here now. I said, you can't do that. I'm going through a divorce. He said, I found you here. I'm never leaving. I'll wait 100 years if I have to. When you're ready, you let me know. Well, when you go through a divorce, any of you have had one, you're this tall. You feel like you're being pounded, pounded, pounded into the ground. So he said, I'll wait 100 years. I'll pay rent on your spare room. When you're ready, you'll let me know. It took me 7 months. That's a long time. I could shake his hand, I could fool around and laugh, but I couldn't do anything else. He was so patient, he was so loving, so giving, so kind, that at 7 months I said, that's it. And so when I went to go have the divorce, it took 2 years because Jeffco docket was crowded at that time. I show up to go for the divorce, and the judge says, I understand there was a Mitsubishi parked on your driveway every night. So I said, yes, Your Honor, here's the rent checks from my renter. He gave me $100 a month for those 7 months because he was renting my spare room. He stayed in his own room. So that the judge says, okay, I'll accept that. Well, there were detectives taking pictures of me, and I could feel it. I felt eyes on me all the time, every time I go in or out, and I had 2 jobs at that time. And so I kept feeling like they're taking my picture from somewhere. I can't see them, but I know there's somebody around. So when it came time for the divorce, there was a stack this high of pictures of me going in and out of the house, going here, going there, different clothes in every picture. You know what the judge did? Threw them all on the floor. He didn't even want to see them because I had the rent checks to show that he was really an honorable person. Okay, so we're married 17 years. He says we're married 20 because it was 20 years ago in April when I met him at the bowling alley. Okay, so we're celebrating 20. Well, we had 2 anniversaries. My mother believed that our anniversary should be when she was there. So we got married in Boulder at a synagogue with just our kids present, and then she heard about it, and she said, oh, that doesn't count. She said, that doesn't count, I wasn't there. You have to do it in front of me, or that's not a wedding. So a week later, my sister, who was a travel agent, got 16 family members, cabins, all in a row together, and we got married on a cruise ship in front of my mother. So every year for about 15 years, we got a check on her anniversary, not the one we celebrate. I think that's pretty funny, but she celebrated the week that she was there, and we celebrate the week before. So now she passed away. So my husband said, you know, we really have 2 anniversaries, don't we? And I said, oh, does that mean 2 presents? He said, no. So that isn't what it meant. But we celebrate 2 different, March 17th and March 25th as our wedding anniversaries. So I think that's funny. But anyway, we're going to go on now with some other stuff. So my stuff, because I wanted you to know what a soulmate's like. So these are some of the questions people ask me. Now, I put together 1,500 couples, and that's 3,000 people. That's 1,500 people who are soulmates. Some of them aren't still together because maybe one died or they got a divorce or different things happened. But I have those scrapbooks that prove that I did do that. So here's what people ask me. What's a soulmate look like? Well, it could be anybody. 2 women could be soulmates. If they click, doesn't mean you're gay. It just means something and that person and you are so together. It could be a mother and a child. It could be two guys. It doesn't mean gay. It means you connect. So what kind of work will they be involved in? How do I know? That's not on your hand, it's on their hand. So today I was at the swimming pool where I live, and this woman came up to me and she said, I met you 15 years ago and you told me I was going to marry an attorney. Guess what? I said, well, weren't you 24 when I met you? And she said, yeah. She has 3 kids now. So she says, yes. And I said, didn't I tell you that wasn't the right one for you? She said, yes, you did. And you were right. I did marry the attorney who I was working for. So see, I get it. So I said, okay, you have 3 children now. What happened to the one that you don't have? And she said, well, with the first guy, I had to have one aborted. The guy before she married, she never, you know. So anyway, she had 4 children on her hand, and I saw where she had 4 pregnancies. Okay, so then people say, well, my soulmate have financial stability? That isn't exactly a very good question to ask right in the very beginning when you meet somebody. So how much do you make? You can't ask them that. You say, I hope you have a good job. I have a good job, and that's all you say. Okay. Then they say, are they going to have baggage? Meaning, do they have kids they have to spend time with? Do they have an ex bugging them? Do they have somebody who's trying to get them back together with their ex? That's called baggage. Will my soulmate have karmic issues to sort out? Sometimes you get somebody who's very needy and they just got divorced, and that isn't so good because you're the go-to person, and then you're going to get hurt because they're going to use you and then move on. So you have to know that. Will my soulmate and I have obstacles to face? Well, in this world we all have obstacles. Different times, different things happen, and if you have somebody to face with you, they say, give me half your worries and I'll give you half of mine. It's a lot better than doing it by yourself. So I've been divorced and a widow, and I didn't like either of those. And so when you're alone, you want a partner. Everybody wants what they want. So you have to go out and try and find it. How can I prepare to meet my soulmate? This is the big one. If you haven't met him yet, and you know I just showed every one of you in here, either has the ski track or the mark that we're talking about, which was that thing I held up and showed you here, that thing. If everybody here has that, that means you're due and you're supposed to have a soulmate. So where is it? Well, it's out there somewhere. So if you've been doing different things and it isn't happening, do something else. You prepare yourself, you change, you reinvent yourself, you change your personality. Nothing wrong with that. Then you say, where will I meet my soulmate? I can't tell you where you'll meet him. I could just tell you that it's around. Somebody back there has a beet red hand. Come over here and show everybody your hand. Her little mark right there that I don't have that she has is as beet red as your shirt. I mean, it's wonderful. So show everybody up here. It's pinkish reddish. That means now. So if you haven't met anybody and you're not with anybody, it's coming soon. You see that?
Yeah.
See? And so I can't really see now without the magnifying glass on most of you, but well, I saw it on hers. And it's dark back in there, and I saw it anyway because it's sticking up like a neon sign going, so that means she's going to reinvent herself and do something. She's getting her picture taken now. Okay. And then people say, well, where am I going to meet him? I can't tell you where you're going to meet him. I can give you a general idea of what you need to do. Then, do I already know who my soulmate is? I get this all the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But your instincts know if you're going to have a click in your head or not. You can't get dressed one night, go to a dance and say, tonight's the night I'm going to meet him. It doesn't happen that way. But if you do, great. If you don't, you go to the next thing. You keep doing more things till you find him. Then another one is, where does he live? Well, how do I know where he lives? I can't tell you he lives in New York or Timbuktu or wherever. If you're miserable enough and you cry to yourself, I want a partner now, I want somebody in my life now, and you say it right here, you don't have to say it out loud, you just feel it and think it, they feel your gut. They feel it wherever they are, they're going to come right to you. I just get the chills every time I say that because it's true. They feel your pain, and you're having pain if you don't have somebody and you want it. And they have the same pain, so they find you. So, and then, are animals important to my soulmate? Let's say you have 2 cats and 2 dogs and he's allergic, can't have animals. That's not going to be your soulmate. They have to say, I love animals and I have 2 dogs too. If you got together with that person, now you're going to have 4 dogs and 2 cats, but you could do it. Or maybe they say, I don't have a pet, but I sure wish I did, and your pet's become his pet. See that? And then the last one is, will they stay forever? And if you have a good, solid relationship, they stay forever. And a lot of people want to know, do they want a family? That's the young ones ask me. I want a baby now, and I'm 40 years old, and if I don't have it now, I'm never going to have it. Well, if you're desperate, you're not going to get it. You can't have that stink on you of desperation. You have to be satisfied with who you are and want more. And so the babies isn't part of it. And then somebody says, tell me the physical appearance. Does he have brown hair, black hair? Does he have any hair at all? How tall is he? What does he weigh? I can't see that. I see the person. I see the essence of a good person or not a good person. Or I see this is coming in and what you need is a like. And if I read your hand, I know what you're like, then I know what you need. And then, will I be moving away in the near future? What if he gets a job far away? Do I have to go with him? Well, you better darn well go with him if it's your soulmate. You don't say, my job's very important, I must stay. No, you go where he wants to go or where he got the big opportunity and you can get a different job or not work. Maybe he makes so much money where you're going you don't have to. And then the big one is, how will you react with each other? So you play off of each other. So if one person's full of jokes and one-liners and a lot of fun and the other person's all serious all the time, not going to work. You have to laugh at their jokes even if they're not funny, because you have to be able to be the give and take that I was talking about. And so I'm going to tell you some dating love facts, and this you'll probably all agree with this. Men decide within 15 minutes of dating somebody if they want to go on a second date. Did you know that? 15 minutes. Takes a woman 60 minutes to decide if you want to go on a second date. I didn't know this either, I looked it up. Here's some love facts. 85% of women say their proposal was not romantic. The guy just says, you want to do it? That's not very romantic. Okay, 10% are by women. And the women say, do you want to get together? We might as well just make me an honest woman out of this. And so that's 10% do that. 50% of marriages happen through introductions of family members or friends. 50%. That's a lot of introductions. Okay, 50% of all breakups are done through email because men are chicken and they can't say it right to your face, so they can write it and get rid of you real quick. 40 million people are currently dating online, and there's a whole lot of horror stories about online dating, and I get them all because I see all kinds of people. So I had that same thing happen to me, and I met a guy, and when he came to the front door, this is when I was divorced, before I met the husband I'm with, I opened the door and I said, yes, and he says, I'm your date. I said, wait a minute, the guy that I was talking to didn't look like you. He said, yeah, I put my high school picture up. He was 55. I said, don't you have another picture? He said, no. Anyway, I looked really cute then, and I don't look so good now. So that was bad. But the horror story on that is, after he took me out to a movie and we had shrimp and a nice dinner, he said, I think I'll bed you now. And I said, pardon me? What did I just hear? And he said, well, I'm a cattle rancher, and that's what we say about our animals. We bed them down for the night. So I said, don't let the door hit you on the way out. And he didn't want to leave. So I opened the door and stood there and held the door open for him. And one of my neighbors, about 2-3 houses down, saw what was going on, and he came over to help me. And he said, are you having a problem? And I said, this gentleman thinks he's going to bed me. Would you please escort him out? He took him out to the car, and they had a few words, and he came back and he says, you ever have any other trouble? Let me know. He just happened to be out there when that happened. But that was a horror story from, I only did it one time. I never looked on the internet again after that because I didn't want to. But there are people that are real happy with each other who meet on the internet too. It just happens. So 53% of marriages last 15 years. And 6% stay together over 50 years. So I have 53 and 3. That doesn't count. But I'm going at 20 with this one, so I figured we'll make 35 or 50 because I'm happy. So I have a thing I want to tell you about love now, because we all want love and everybody gives love out, but we don't always get what we need. So true love is giving, sharing, and not limiting. And love's destiny is to last, not lapse. In love, the point of the rule is to be the icing on the cake for the other person. You are the cake. I thought that was funny. We must all discover our inner happiness. The relationship to self is the most important one. If you're proud of yourself and you have a good self-esteem, then that shows, and the other person knows that. So the key in any relationship is to love yourself before you can give your love to someone else. And love is patient, kind, not jealous or haughty. It is never rude, selfish, or resentful. It is gladdened by goodness and believes the best about everyone. So love is eager to assist. It is always hopeful, cheerful, and filled with good fellowship. Love is the basis of all cultures. Through love, we can relate to creation. Through love, we relate to the universal force. The greater our love, the closer we are to God. Through God, we are linked to the infinite. Love is in the heart and it does not discriminate. Love is beyond judgment. A person whose heart is full of love bestows love on everybody. So those who are evil will not accept love. And we were talking about black energy, and they can't accept love because they're negative. And those who accept love are good and return it many times over. Love grows as in the light that illuminates the soul and the world around us. So relationships are really a mirror of you, of yourself, and it grows through change. And change is what makes the world go around. We all know that. So if you've been here for a long time, you're stagnant. You need to change. So compromise is change. So if a guy says, I want to join a volleyball league, and you go, oh, I'm terrible at that, I don't want to go. And he said, please join with me. You say, okay, I'll come, but I'm not going to be very good. You're compromising, that's growth. You go, I want to take dancing lessons. He goes, oh, I have 2 left feet, I can't. Okay, for you, I'll go to the Y and we'll do it. So he comes over here. Now you're going forward, you're not stagnant, you see? So that's a good thing, and it doesn't always happen. Some men go, bet me, I wouldn't go dancing. Then you have to think of something else, but you should have something that you have in common that you do together to grow, because change is better than stagnant. So relationships, the greatest obstacle we face in any relationship is fear, and I think you all know that love and fear are the opposite of each other, but they're the same. So if you have love in your heart, you don't have fear anymore. If you have fear that you're never going to get love, you aren't going to get it. So you have to get rid of that so this can come in. So we must balance the nurturing of self with giving ourself to another. But in love, you have to discover your destiny. And your destiny, everybody here is supposed to have somebody. I'm a romantic, I believe that anyway. And I have put so many people together that still let me, now I'm getting baby invitations, baby announcements. And I'm not sending baby presents. I do send a little check. If I put a couple together, they get a $10 or $15 check because I was involved in it. I can't go to all those weddings. So now I'm getting graduation parties and all kinds of stuff from people that I put together because I've been doing this for 20 years. So I think that's fun. So you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else. And that's the most important thing I have to tell you. To get past your self-limiting beliefs, you have to get past your own critical self. And we all criticize ourselves mentally. You go, oh, my hair looks like crap today, I don't like it. Then the next day you love your hair. That's the same thing with a person. You love them one day and the next day you don't like them. So there's days I want to just throttle my husband and shake him and go, oh! And the next day I love every hair on his head, but that's normal. So what you have in a relationship is this, and if it's like this, it's no good, and if it's like this, it's no good, but it should be a little of this. It can't be perfect all the time. So never stop wishing or desiring who you want in your life. Be true to yourself, and if you manifest what you want in a relationship, what you need, and you ask for it, and who you ask is your guardian angels. So I'm going to show you all how to do that. So if you ask your angels, be careful what you ask for. So everybody has guardian angels. When somebody close to you died, they get buried in the ground and their spirit hangs out with you. So if everybody would do this, do it right in front of your face, just go wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. If your angels are around you, they're about this tall, and they're going to say, yes, what is it you need? And you whisper to yourself, I want a soulmate now, or show me where to go. You better have a pencil and paper everywhere that you are, the bathroom, the kitchen, next to your bed, on the car seat, not in your purse, because when you hear where to go, you better jot it down. So sometimes I told you 5 places, didn't I? Said you have to do 5 things, and I remember what I said. So you have 5 things she has to do, and then the person will come. She'll bump into him. So you bump into a lot of different energies, but when it's the right one, it's juicy. That's the only word I can say. It's wonderful. And it makes your heart sing. And you just go, hi, honey, sweetie. You're just humming and singing all the time. You're happy. Do you remember when you were 16 and you had a crush on somebody and they liked you back and you walked through the house, your feet don't touch the carpet? That's what you're all supposed to have. And I'm guaranteeing you, you can get it if you do this and ask for it. But ask for a good, wholesome, true blue, wonderful person that you're going to manifest in your heart. So I'm done, and I hope you all like that. And thank you for coming. Okay.